Oh, the weather outside is frightful, and this movie is too. But not for the reasons you're thinking of. 'Cause it blows, 'cause it blows, 'cause it blows. Really thought that was funny. If you never click on another video of mine again, it's fine. I understand. Thanks for giving me the time you have. So we're going to be talking about Once Upon a Time at Christmas. I thought it would really be fun to do a Christmas movie review, but I wasn't necessarily sure if I could get a video recorded, edited, and uploaded by Christmas, so I went for a Christmas horror movie instead, because that can be fun any time of the year. So let's jump into the review. Once Upon a Time at Christmas was a movie that was directed by Paul Tanter and released in 2017, and is about a psycho killer dressed up as Santa and his side piece, apprentice, dressed up as Mrs. Claus. I don't know why I called her a side piece. Cohort, partner in crime, that kind of thing. So it's two psycho killers dressed up as Santa and Mrs. Claus going on a murder spree in a small town. And we're going to get into why this movie is, in my opinion, not great. Now, the opening scene starts off with Mrs. Claus, quote unquote, in a jail cell talking to a police officer. That's all that happens. That's it. They have a little back and forth, a little tete-a-tete. That's it. It's just a really boring scene, but that's how they decided to open it up, I guess. So now we jump to the police investigating a murder scene outside of the local mall where the mall Santa was murdered. Now, as they're talking about collecting evidence and fingerprints, we physically see what happened, what led up to the murder. And that is the Mrs. Claus we saw in that opening scene, who resembles a second-rate Christmas-themed Harley Quinn, including pigtails, a baseball bat, and a joyful love of murder. She chased the mall Santa down, hit him with her bat, and then she's standing over him as he's laying in the snow, and she goes,
"You're not really him."
There you are!
And then the camera pans up to a guy dressed as Santa with half of his face burnt, a bunch of fake teeth, and an axe. And he swings down. Your imagination can fill in the rest of the scene. But what annoyed me so much was, why wouldn't you make that the opening scene? Why isn't that your opening scene? Like, somebody gets murdered, very first scene, boom, I'm invested. You've got me. The credits start rolling and I'm like, ooh, I can't wait to see where this is going. Yeah, let's get all of these people on the naughty list. Psycho Santa's coming. No. They have to start with a boring conversation between a good guy and a bad guy. This is where we meet our main protagonist, Jennifer. Jennifer is a teenage girl who's waking up on a fresh new day around Christmas time. Jennifer hears her parents arguing, very loudly, I might add. She's in her room because she was sleeping, but you can hear them as though they're in the next room. She comes down the stairs, and the acting in this scene is so fucking awful, because she comes down the stairs, and her father's continuing to scream, and then sees her and is basically like, oh, "Hey, Jennifer, what are you doing there, kiddo? I didn't even see you, sport." It's just so bad.
This is what you want?
We should do what?
We need to tell her! Hey, sweetheart.
And then he leaves, and then the mom's acting is also awful, because Jennifer's staring daggers at her mom, and her mom goes,
Looks like the
What?
road has been closed and
Doesn't matter.
causing traffic to back up.
Come on, you got something to say? Just say it.
"Why be so aggressive? You're the one who was flipping out on your husband 2 seconds ago. Where did all that aggression come from? This is your daughter. You should be feeling bad that she caught you and your husband in a really heated fight." We jump into the next scene where Jennifer is at the mall with her friends, and they're teasing her because she got a job as a mall elf. So the teens have unrealistic teen conversation because not only is the acting bad, but the writing's bad too. So that's a really good combination.
No idea what I want for Christmas.
A boyfriend with a huge cock.
Hasn't he stiffed you enough on that one?
A girl can dream, can I?
First of all, friend one talks about sex constantly. And friend two is a piece of wood. She has no personality. You don't care about her. I don't even really remember her name. It's not until halfway through the film that I know what her name is, that I learned it. Their boyfriends come up. Jennifer's boyfriend and friend one's boyfriend. And Jennifer's boyfriend looks like he's 30. They both inform the girls about the dead mall Santa that was found in the parking lot. Nobody really cares. They don't really say or do anything about it. It's just another day, I guess. Then, friend one's boyfriend tells them about this drumming competition that they're having Christmas Eve, and it's a tradition. Tradition. Okay, I wasn't aware that drumming competitions were a Christmas tradition, but alright. We'll learn why that's relevant when we get closer to the end of the film. That's about all that happens in this scene, is that a bunch of unrealistic teen talk occurs. So now the sheriff meets the mayor to discuss closing the mall because of the murder that happened. And the mayor is an over-the-top douche who just wants people to spend their money for Christmas gifts and boost the economy. I don't know why. It's not like he gets any of that money. I don't know. If he does, they never explicitly tell you that. So now we jump to a scene at Turtle Dove Point. They make that real clear by showing us the sign, so you know it's fucking important. So remember it. And we cut to two kids sitting in a car, making out at this place. And once again, very unrealistic teen talk. All of a sudden, something smashes their car window, and they're freaking out, because obviously that's scary. And then the Santa and the Mrs. Claus light their car on fire. Christmas fun for all. So the deputy and the sheriff come to investigate the crime. They're questioning whether or not this is connected to the Santa murder, the mall Santa, right? Remember the one who died? Yeah, they're wondering if this is connected to that. But the sheriff seems pissed that these kids had to die. At one point he's talking about he just wishes he could have a quiet Christmas.
Only I was looking forward to a quiet holiday season. Still haven't done my shopping. I don't need 3 murders dragging us into overtime.
I don't know, Sheriff. 2 kids are dead. That sounds pretty insensitive to me, so I don't know. We get our next murder, which is pretty cool, since this is a horror film and all. So we see a mother and a daughter chilling in their home and relaxing. It's Christmas time. All of a sudden they get a knock at the door, and it's the crazy Mrs. Claus lady. We know that. They obviously don't know that. Busts the window of the door and gets into the house and kills the woman with an axe and her daughter. So that's the next one. That's the next murder that we get. Jennifer's back at the mall working her little elf job. Friend one comes up to Jennifer and is like, "Hey, what's up, bestie? I'm handing out flyers for my stupid boyfriend." She hates her boyfriend, and I don't understand why. But anyway, she's like, "I'm handing flyers out for my stupid boyfriend's drumming competition. And I just came over to talk to you or whatever." And then they start talking about the kids that got murdered at Turtle Dove Point. You remember those? You remember them? Yeah, they start talking about them. Friend one, I kid you not, goes, "Yeah, did you hear that one boy was murdered with that girl?" And Jennifer's like, "Oh my God." And friend one goes, "Did you do it with him?" So apparently, Jennifer and this boy dated. And friend one is super interested to know if Jennifer and him did it. Maybe don't fucking ask that after you just report his murder to her. I don't know. I've never taken classes in etiquette, but I would assume that that's bad etiquette. So now we cut back to the sheriff and the deputy who are talking about the kids' murders with the fire and Turtle Dove Point and all that stuff. So they're talking about that and how the fire was definitely set on purpose. And the sheriff is trying to get his receptionist to put him through to, I guess, different police stations. And at one point, he asked for the FBI. This woman's acting.
Kathy, can you get me NYPD homicide on the line, please?
He's been on line 2 for 5 minutes.
Kathy!
Line 2.
He hung up.
Okay, I'll get him back.
Kathy, get me the bureau.
It is so bad. First of all, she seems frustrated, but not like a normal frustrated. Like somebody said, hey, act frustrated. Like, I don't know, a director maybe told her to act frustrated. It's not even believable. And then also on top of that, my question is, why that choice? Because she's acting frustrated, but she's being asked to do her job. They also, before I move on, quick, they also show that the sheriff has a bottle of whiskey in his desk drawer. He's an alcoholic, guys, because the stereotypical alcoholic cop trope isn't used enough. They had to use it in this film. Also, why is it always whiskey? Why do they always drink a ton of whiskey? So now, we're following friend 1, who's out with friends at a bar. They take a shot, and then friend 1 is immediately like, let's all take selfies. And all of the other girls are like, don't tag me in that, please, because that's stupid. We're underage. At least a couple of them are being reasonable, I guess. Anyway, friend 1 is on her phone, and some drunk guy in the background is supposed to be catcalling them. But A, he's not good at it. Not that I'm encouraging people to catcall as long as you're good at it. But he's like saying shit like this.
Hey, beautiful lady. Hey, lady. Hey, sexy lady.
Great.
And he is very clearly pretending to be drunk. He's not actually drunk, and you can tell because he's doing like the woo stuff. Maybe I've just never been around the right drunk people, but I've never heard a drunk person do that. So the girls then all go to the bathroom. They all go to the bathroom. They're having more unrealistic teen talk, and then they hear a woman crying in one of the stalls, and it seems like they're concerned and want to figure out what's going on to console her. So I think one of the girls asks her, like, hey, who's in there? And they don't get a response. So one of the girls just peeks under the door. What are you doing? People go into stalls for privacy. Get your nose out of there. Even if she wasn't doing anything, like going to the bathroom, with her pants down, wanting privacy, she still chose to go in there to cry. So maybe she doesn't want people going in to ask her what's wrong. But it doesn't even really matter because it's Mrs. Claus, and the girl who peeks under the door gets an arrow in the eye, which I think is an appropriate punishment for this crime. Anyway, it's Mrs. Claus, and then Santa appears, and he kills 4 of the girls. He has friend 1 in his clutches. He's like, got her by the throat. And then Mrs. Claus goes to swing down her back, and he catches it. He's like, no.
That's a weak greedy, Mrs. Claus. 4 birds. 4 birds. Just more than enough for one day.
This is important. So remember that, my friends. This is important. So the next scene, the police come. She tells them that it's 2 people dressed up as Mr. and Mrs. Claus. So then they're like, oh my God, that's crazy. The sheriff has gone to the mayor to ask the mayor to put on a curfew so that people are not out late at night and can't be hurt. Even though the Frenchins, remember I mentioned them, they were attacked in their home, but sure, a curfew will work. But he's trying something, okay? I'll give him props for that. But the mayor wants nothing to do with it. And he makes some comment about how he was elected due to his morals and his values. And then the sheriff responds with this.
I was elected on a platform of decency and promoting family values in Woodridge. These murders are fucking that image up.
Aren't you going to a strip club this week?
Instead of like just ignoring it or being like, listen, I'll do what I want in my own personal free time. Which, honestly, listen, it's his business. I don't necessarily think going to a strip club is immoral, but to try and defend it as though you're doing this for the taxpayer. No, you're not. You're doing it to get some titties in your face, which is fine. But let's not pretend, all right? Let's be open here. Let's be open and honest adults, okay? But then to make matters even worse, he says this.
I am particularly looking forward to seeing my niece. She's all grown up now.
Excuse me, what?
And I just feel dirty. I feel really gross. I'm not even kidding. I heard when he said that, I was like, did he just say that? Now we cut to the sheriff and the deputy talking to FBI agents who are supposed to help them on the case. So the FBI agents are also dicks. I don't know why everybody has to be a dick in this movie. The FBI agents make a very good point because they say, hey, there was one murder that was one person. Then there was another murder that was 2 people. And then there was a third murder that was of 4 people. So that lets the sheriff and deputy know that there should be another crime scene with 3 victims. So now for some reason the deputy decides to go to the French's house. We are not told what led him to do this, what caused him to do this, what inspired this. We're not told why he went to the French's specifically. He just goes there. So he goes to the French's home and he finds the mom and the daughter dead and the dog, I think the dog's supposed to be disemboweled, but they don't really show you much. It's just like stuff hanging. I mean, thank God. I'm not complaining that they didn't show you anything, but I'm saying what I think was supposed to have had happened. Anyway, he finds the French's, so he found the three missing victims that the FBI was talking about. He found them. So yay? Not yay, because 3 people are dead. But you get what I'm saying. Well, 2 people and a dog are dead. So we go back to the police station where the FBI agents are actively going through and investigating the murder. Right? They're asking questions to each other. They're throwing out theories. They all have open manila folders. So we know that this shit is serious. Then one of them decides he wants to go get a cup of coffee. He literally walks through the hallway, turns a corner, goes to the coffee pot, gets some coffee, gets a phone call. The phone call goes a little bit something like this.
Hello? Okay, stay there. Don't touch anything. I'm gonna get the guys. Who are they? Show me. 3 of them? Right. We're on our way.
Not a long phone call, my point is. By the time all of that happens, him going to get coffee, him getting the quick phone call, which we can assume is from the deputy talking about the French's, he gets back into the room with all of the agents, and they're all fucking dead. If you expect me to believe that this killer, who you have in no way, shape, or form indicated that he is supernatural, so I have to believe he is human. And you expect me to believe that in the time it took somebody to get coffee and take a 5-second phone call, he walked into a room full of police officers dressed as Santa who were looking for him and didn't get his ass shot. I don't believe you. First of all of those FBI agents have to be packing. Secondly, we know his weapon is an axe. It's not a shooty. He has to be up close to kill them, because I'm calling bullshit on that. Absolute bullshit. So now the deputy and the sheriff have come by to investigate the murders of the FBI agents, and they're talking to a lab guy who is British. The lab guy's talking about blood and all that, getting DNA and all of that jazz, all of that forensics stuff. And he mentions that every FBI agent with a wedding ring had their ring fingers removed. He cut off this finger, right, of 5 FBI agents. the forensics guy says,
He removed their fingers.
Fingers.
Yep, from each and every one of them, even the bird.
The bird.
Bird, yeah. The woman.
Oh, right, I keep forgetting you're a Brit.
'cause he's British. And they call women birds as slang. And they actually explain it to you. They tell you this. They openly say, yeah, this is a thing. Because the sheriff says, what do you mean bird? And he goes, woman. I get it that it's British slang, and not every American may know that that's a slang term that's used. But if you have watched any TV ever in your life that maybe possibly comes from England, you've probably heard that term used in that way before. Remember how Friend 1 survived that thing because Santa Claus, Psycho Santa, said 4 birds was enough? He's British. And he meant girls. The deputy gets a call from a farmer, a crazy farmer who calls in about UFOs and shit because they have to make him insane for whatever reason. He calls about a bunch of his geese dying on his farm. The deputy goes out there to look, and there are 6 dead geese. So now we cut back to Jennifer working her mall elf job. She is closing up the mall Santa thing, display, whatever, putting up the we're closed sign, even though there's no fucking buddy in the mall. So she starts walking through the mall, and there's a jack-in-the-box sitting on the floor, and a note. She reads the note it came with, and it's just some note that says, like, oh, can't wait to see ya, love St. Nick. That's important. And then she plays the jack-in-the-box, and pop, it goes off, and fingers come out. That's always what you want when you play a jack-in-the-box. Fingers. Obviously, the FBI agent's fingers were put in this jack-in-the-box, and it was sent off to Jennifer at the mall. Now, Jennifer and her mom are being interviewed by the sheriff and the deputy because they think that there's some kind of link between these killings and Jennifer because she was the only person that was addressed up front and not killed. So they're like, this has something to do with Jennifer. And Jennifer's mom is there while they're asking Jennifer all these questions, and her mom is like, this is stupid. The acting is so bad here that you know her mom knows something, but she doesn't say anything. So she starts freaking out. I want to call Mrs. Frenchin. I want to call Mrs. Frenchin. My daughter needs a lawyer. I need a lawyer. And they're like, you can't call her. You can't call her. And then she's like, why can't I? And then they're like, 'cause she's dead. And I'm just like, I don't care about any of this. First of all, you could have just told her 5 minutes ago that the woman is fucking dead. Secondly, the mom can just own up to whatever she's hiding right now because she's very clearly hiding something. And after Jennifer and her mom leave, the sheriff and the deputy are talking, and the deputy brings up the 6 dead geese on the farm that he found. And the sheriff responds this way.
Jim, there were 6 of them.
6?
Yeah. Huh.
This next scene is probably going to come off as nitpicky for me complaining about it, but I have a few gripes with this scene. And as small and nitpicky as they might seem, I'm annoyed, so we're going to talk about it. We see Friend 2 at the local swimming pool for swimming practice. And, because remember, I told you that she was a swimmer. Did I tell you that? Well, if I didn't, she's a swimmer, and now you know. So she's at the swimming pool getting in some extra practice. And the first thing that I hate about that is there's no lifeguard on duty. There's no coach there. Who the fuck is letting this random teenage child just walk around a pool by herself with nobody there to watch her, make sure she's okay, make sure the killer that's on the loose out there doesn't get her? Another thing I'd like to point out is the way she's dressed. She's wearing a fucking magenta bathing suit. Now, I was never a swimmer, but I've been to swim meets. Nobody's ever dressed like this. Girls usually wear one pieces with swimming caps and goggles and, you have swimmer gear. Nobody's dressed like this. Anyway, those are my gripes about the scene, but she dies. So, obviously, Santa drowns her in the pool or something. I don't even really know how she dies. It's never really said. She's just found dead in the pool. So we cut to the police investigating said death, and we're told that her name is Lisa Swan. That's why I told you that I did eventually have to learn people's names. Friend one's name is never relevant, but this girl's name is relevant. We'll get there. So her name is Lisa Swan, and there were 6 paper swans found in the pool. So now we cut back to Jennifer, who's at home, alone. She starts hearing strange noises, and she thinks somebody's there. She starts calling out, and for some reason, it's her friend who doesn't ever fucking answer her. Oh, it's not the killer, it's just bitch face McGee over here. Like, oh, thanks. So they sit down and they're talking. They talk about how Lisa, friend 2, disappeared. And Jennifer makes it apparent to friend number 1 that this has something to do with her family. There is a later scene that I'll talk about now because I'm not going to wait to do it. They literally just Google her mom and an article about her mom, and some guy pops up and she's like, who is this guy? Oh my gosh, you'll never guess. You could probably guess it. So now we're following the mayor who's at that strip club that the sheriff was mentioning. You know, in that previous scene, he's tipping a stripper, and it turns out to be Mrs. Claus, and then Santa Claus is right behind him, and they just go on a rampage, and they kill a bunch of people in the strip club, and yeah. The weirdest thing about this scene is that the sheriff and the deputy are watching it happen live on security camera. I don't know how they have access to live security feeds to a strip club. Doesn't really sound like the mayor is the only town official who likes strippers, but who am I? Who am I to judge? But anyway, they watch the whole thing go down on the feed, and they're like, what? Somebody call the cops. And then the sheriff says this.
What do we do now?
Call the coroner.
Typical day. The sheriff's just treating every single one of these murders like it's just another day. It's time for the big reveal. I tell you reveal, but I'm sure a lot of you have already worked out what happened. So the sheriff is standing in the police station staring at, like, you know, one of those corkboard things for this killer. They're playing the radio that's talking about a snowstorm that's going to hit the town, that's going to make it impossible to get in or out, even by air. And it doesn't play any part in the film, so I don't know why they bring it up, but they do. Apparently, the town's going to be trapped. But the deputy comes in, and he says something about the pear that was found at the first scene. And the deputy says, I thought it was an apple. They thought they found an apple at the first crime scene with the mall Santa, but it turned out to be a pear. And the sheriff has a brain fart that makes him smarter somehow. And he starts putting all the pieces together. He's like, I know exactly what's going on. He's killing based on the 12 Days of Christmas. So the first murder, the guy's name was, I think, like James or Peter. I don't remember these people's names, I'm sorry. But the more important part is that his last name was Partridge, and he was found amongst pears. So Partridge in a pear tree. The second murder was called Turtle Dove Point. So 2 lovers on Turtle Dove's Point, they get dead. You get dead. The third killing was 3 French hens. So basically, this is how the murders have been going. 5 golden rings for the 5 FBI agents. 4 calling birds were the birds. 4 birds is enough. 4 calling birds. Birds meaning girls, so he thought that was appropriate, whatever.
The FBI guys.
Peterson's geese.
6 geese a-laying.
7 swans a-swimming.
Peterson's farm. There's a spot at the back. 8 milkmaid machines completely destroyed.
This is how he's been killing. He's been killing based on the 12 Days of Christmas song. Now, let me tell you why that's fucking stupid. Let me explain this to you. All of these murders are based on pure happenstance of what somebody was named, and not even all of them were murders of people because he couldn't. 6 geese a-laying were the 6 geese that the farmer found. What would he have done if there was nobody with the last name Partridge in this fucking town, which we are constantly reminded is a small town? What would we have done if nobody was named the Frenchins, which is a fucking weird name, and I've never met anybody with that name anyway? Would he have been able to kill based on the 12 Days of Christmas, or would he have killed based on another Christmas song? It's stupid. It's absolutely stupid, and I hate it. So Jennifer and her mom have a conversation, and her mom tells Jennifer, yeah, this guy is your father. Big surprise, okay? So basically, Jennifer's mom was in a relationship with an army vet who, after he came back from war, suffered from PTSD and tried to kill her, so she left him, and she was pregnant when she left him, so this is Jennifer's biological father. Jennifer's acting in this scene is just riveting.
Mom, you know that Frank and I love you very much.
Mom, I need to know, what is this?
The mom filed for divorce on Christmas, so he's coming after Jennifer and her family. Now, the mom didn't say anything because she thought he was dead, because she claims that the hospital, the mental hospital that he was in, after trying to kill her, that it burned down and all of his teeth were found and a ton of blood and a charred body was located that they assumed to be her husband, whose name is Nick, by the way. Get it? Saint Nick. Clever.
It could be him.
He's dead.
She assumed he was dead. But why would you just stay quiet? You were being interviewed by the police who were telling you that this may in some way be a target against your family, and you didn't think to say anything about this? You didn't think to even mention, hey, I think he might be dead. I was told that the mental asylum he was in burned down and he with it, but if he didn't, he might be the person that's doing this. You didn't think to say any of that. So she has this conversation with Jennifer and she comes clean about everything, and then she decides to call the sheriff, which, why you could have just come clean about all of this early. It's too late though, because he has found her and he's come into the home. He kills her husband, he takes her hostage, and then he heads out to the drumming competition. 12 drummers drumming. That's why this has to be a fucking competition. Because 12 drummers drumming. Couldn't be 12 guitarists guitaring. Jennifer's at this party. She doesn't know her mom's been taken. And she's trying to call. Nobody's picking up. And instead of being super concerned because, you know, there's a killer out there, she's just like, I'm going to have a good time. So she literally has no concern for her parents. Until that Psycho Santa comes in with her mom and some other person who he has wrapped up and dressed as an elf. And he just starts going ham, axing people left and right. He's like, haha, you've all been naughty. Or he makes some Christmas-related pun. Then we jump to the sheriff and the deputy coming to Jennifer's house. And they're looking for Jennifer because they know she's in danger. And they find the flyer for the drumming competition that Jennifer's at. They conveniently find it, although the deputy holds it up like he already had it in his fucking hand. They go. They set out, right? And while they're setting out, we jump back to Jennifer at the drumming competition. I am going to sum up what's happening here real quick. All right? Really quick. Her dad, biological father, starts going into the whole, we're not so different, you and I speech. And he's basically trying to tell Jennifer, like, you're a killer too, because I am. And she's like, no, I'm not. And he's like, well, then here, there's 2 bomb detonators, one hooked up to your mother, one hooked up to this other person. As I watched this twice, and I could not figure out who this other woman was. I'm sorry. I don't know. But anyway, he's making her choose between her mom's life and this other person's life. And he's like, but you can save both of them if you kill me. And then he gives her a loaded gun. She points it at his head and pulls the trigger, and it's fucking not loaded. Because why would a killer give somebody a loaded gun? That's stupid. All this is happening, by the way, friend one gets away and is like, I'm going to try and escape. She tries to escape and she gets attacked by the Mrs. Claus lady. And they're struggling, rolling on the ground for like 5 minutes. And then finally the police come and just shoot the Mrs. Claus lady. And then they're like, we're taking you in. They shoot her in a non-lethal place. She's like, she's not really all that hurt, which is ridiculous. But okay. All right, movie, you got me. They get her. And then they go in. And the Santa Claus guy is like, choose Jennifer. And then the sheriff shoots him, and he falls back, and the sheriff's like, it's okay. And Psycho Santa is like, it's not okay, Jennifer. I will get out, and I will come find you, because you're my blood. And Jennifer hits a detonator, and then there's just like a little poof. And the sheriff goes, it's okay, it was just a stun grenade. And she looks up, and there's just a little cloud of smoke, and Psycho Santa is gone. So Santa is gone, but they have the Mrs. Claus lady in custody, and Jennifer is going to be in need of several years of therapy. But then the movie goes right back to where we began. That same fucking scene we started out with. And I don't know why they had to go here. I just don't get it. I don't know why they had to start the movie out with this scene, because they could have just ended it with this scene. It almost feels like they think it's a cool callback. The only thing that's different between the opening version of the scene and the closing version of the scene is that they have the same conversation, but afterwards Mrs. Claus does this weird, like, arm thing. Then the deputy turns around and Psycho Santa's there. Oh, crazy. And that's how the movie ends. It wasn't the best film I've ever watched, but it gave me a Christmas laugh. So I guess I can't fault the movie too much for giving me a little bit of a chuckle every now and again. But could have been done better, really. Just the writing could have been better, the acting could have definitely been better, and some of the scene arranging could have been a lot better. But I enjoyed it for what it was, and if you are looking to watch this film yourself, it is available on Hulu, it is available on Amazon, and it is available right here on YouTube. So feel free to go and check it out and get a Christmas chuckle of your own. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and I can't wait to see you guys when I upload again. Bye!